Okay, let's get this set up. So we're going to completely from scratch here get agent-centric set up and go ahead and get it deployed, hopefully in less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to start here in an incognito. I'm just going to click any button here on this page. Should take me here. Let's sign up. I'm just going to use a dummy account. So this will be at assistantcloser.com. And then let's just choose a password here. And these should line up. Perfect. Let's sign up. The name of my company is going to be, let's do Assistant Closer. This is my name. And then I'm not going to invite anybody else from the team just yet. I'm just going to go right to the dashboard. Perfect. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and let's just start this plan. It's taking us back to the dashboard now. Now we're active. So we have a setup guide. And then we have a couple things here, right? So we have our message limits, our location limits is infinite because we're on the enterprise plan. We don't have any locations deployed yet. And we don't have anything white labeled or set up. So what we're gonna do is we'll just follow the setup guide, connect the AGI to high level. I'm not gonna do that one just yet. I'll show you that on my personal one. But we'll go ahead and go through the steps here of just setting up a brand new account. So let's go ahead and white label, or we can click here and it should take us to white labeled. We don't need a white label domain, but let's just put a logo in here. I'll just take one from a recent YouTube thumbnail here. Perfect. And let's do a fun color like purple. So let's save that. Great. Across the platform, I'll have my logo. My brand color will be now across the platform, and it'll be completely white labeled, and I can set up this domain later, but I just throw in a domain, connect it, add the DNS record to my domain, and then I'll have a white label domain too for things like iframes, chat widgets that will be native to the platform, and they would have your or whomever's white label domain attached to it for complete brand continuity across the platform. But that's not necessary to kind of just get started here. So let's go to, so we have our white label done. Let's install our custom menu link. This custom menu link you'll throw in your high level, and again I'll show you that in my personal one just because I already have my high level location with all that stuff in it, but we'll go ahead and do that and get her started. Okay, so let's connect the AGI with high level. So what this is going to be is this is going to be under settings, integration here, and then we're going to connect with high level. Agree, connect. This should take us here. And what we're going to do is we're going to select our agency here, not a sublocation or a sub account. We're going to select the agency, which will allow the agent-centric system to divvy out access to locations as you continue to deploy. So we have to select agency here. If you do not see agency here, try it in an incognito browser, and then try it not with a white label domain, but with app.gohighlevel.com, because that's what it's going to recognize. So we'll click our agency here. We're going to allow access to all sublocations for agent-centric and enable automatic feature installation. So what these settings basically allow is when you open a new sublocation or a new sub-account, just to put agent-centric in it and not have to do this whole OAuth thing again. So it'll save you a bunch of time. It'll save us a bunch of time because we're able to deploy it in those locations for you. So make sure that these two things are selected there, and then we'll proceed. And then the application will connect with high level. Great. So we're connected via high level. The connection is good. We see up here, we see reset connection. That means the connection to high level is complete. We have done our white label. Next, we're going to grab our custom menu link. So this is going to be under resources. If you see it here, it took me right to it, but you just go to resources, you'll see deploy, install the portal. So custom menu link, we'll just copy that here. And then let's go into our agency under custom menu link. So agency settings, custom menu link, and then let's create new. And then we'll just do a little bot here. That's traditional. And then we'll say assistant closer AGI. And then let's throw in the custom menu link. We're not going to show this on the agency sidebar. The agency doesn't really need one. You have the admin portal. If you want to do that, just put your admin portal with the basically this link right here into a custom menu link in the agency to have your admin portal just sitting there. If not, you can just log into agentcentric.com/dashboard. It'll take you to your admin settings. And then we don't really want to show it all accounts. We'll just deploy as we go. If you just want to give it to all your clients, great. You can just click that. It's just going to pop up. But if you want to divvy out to who the AGI actually comes to, because this will be via custom menu link and created for you, you could divvy that out using this. I think just for this example, we'll do that. Make sure it's open in an iframe inside the platform. And then we'll allow microphone because we have AI voice cloning that's used for SMS outreach. So we're able to send one-for-one clone of your voice with the lead's name, everything in it via an initial message. Just for a higher personalization for client acquisition systems, Facebook lead forms, things like that. Just for a higher personalization, something different, pattern breaking. So we'll allow microphone so that you can record that in the browser, and then we'll just save that. So our dashboards will be able to see all of our active conversations, what the assistants are doing, what they're saying, and then we can even take a look into the back end here with server logs to kind of show what's happening and the associated IDs with that. If there are any problems, you can just send the run ID, and then we'll get that solved for you very, very easily. But you also have full transparency into the data that's picked up by the platform to delete it, and then full transparency to see how that data is processed on the back end. So the listener will begin to collect information about the conversations, and what you're basically doing here is you're building a repository of knowledge around the leads and clients you already have. So if an assistant steps in, it has full cognitive ability to kind of pick up where you left off, and it also is learning about the people it's talking to. So that's your dashboard. What I can do is I can delete a thread, download these things as CSV because it is your data. I can reply here in the channel just like you would in high level, and whatever channels you have will pop up here. And then I can maybe send out an assistant to just go reply to Jocelyn here, right? I can send out my support rep to go talk to Jocelyn maybe on a one-off basis, whatever it is. But given all this data that's in here now, what you have is you'll have training data, you'll have assistants, and you'll have your deployments. And we'll get into that. But since we have everything connected and everything's in high level now, let's go back to the admin dashboard real quick. So we have our white label in place, right? We have our connection to OAuth now in there. We have everything set up and connected. We're seeing it. We're seeing our location here. Let's go ahead and let's set an admin password, right? We can mine's admin password, but let's just do admin password exclamation point. We'll save that in case we need to admin lock any of these. And then we'll go ahead and throw a support widget in here. And so what this is going to do, just as an example, right? Let's take this out. Okay, so because I already have my agency stuff in there, we'll just run with mine. So what I'll do is I'll go and kind of show you what it looks like. So once we have that custom menu link in there, we just click on it here, which would then create the location or allow that person to access their own location, completely white labeled to your branding. So if I go to maybe another one, let's go to, Far Out Furnishing here, which is my wife's business. And I go to connect the assistant AGI. You see it's creating a portal. Perfect. And then it says connect agent centric. This would be your white label. And if you see in my admin portal, her location is down here. And as soon as I connect, it's going to establish the OAuth connection. And then all of her stuff appears here. So it's automatically pulling the stuff from the location users, anything associated with the location will automatically be pulled for the assistant to use. And just kind of establishes that hard connection via OAuth. So that's how you create a new location. And let's go into just ours, for example, and then let's just go ahead and delete this location because she's not really using the AI. So once that account has been created, you have a couple things here. The listener will already begin to listen and grab conversation data to use to put together profiles and data for the assistant to use based off of the conversation, so the assistant can actually hop into the conversation later with full permanent conversation memory of everything you've said, everything the other person said, completely agnostic to any channel. So it pulls all conversations from each channel. Like maybe if we go into this one, you can see that it's pulling, it'll show SMS, or if it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, it'll pull that information here. So our dashboards will be able to see all of our active conversations, what the assistants are doing, what they're saying, and then we can even take a look into the back end here with server logs to kind of show what's happening and the associated IDs with that. If there are any problems, you can just send the run ID, and then we'll get that solved for you very, very easily. But you also have full transparency into the data that's picked up by the platform to delete it, and then full transparency to see how that data is processed on the back end. So the listener will begin to collect information about the conversations, and what you're basically doing here is you're building a repository of knowledge around the leads and clients you already have. So if an assistant steps in, it has full cognitive ability to kind of pick up where you left off, and it also is learning about the people it's talking to. So that's your dashboard. What I can do is I can delete a thread, download these things as CSV, because it is your data. I can reply here in the channel just like you would in high level, and whatever channels you have will pop up here. And then I can maybe send out an assistant to just go reply to Jocelyn here, right? I can send out my support rep to go talk to Jocelyn, maybe on a one-off basis, whatever it is. But given all this data that's in here now, what you have is you'll have training data, you'll have assistants, and you'll have your deployments. And we'll get into that. But since we have everything connected and everything's in high level now, let's go back to the admin dashboard real quick. So we have our white label in place, right? We have our connection to OAuth now in there. We have everything set up and connected. We're seeing it. We're seeing our location here. Let's go ahead and let's set an admin password, right? We can mine's admin password, but let's just do admin password exclamation point. We'll save that in case we need to admin lock any of these. And then we'll go ahead and throw a support widget in here. And so what this is going to do, just as an example, right? Let's take this out. So what this is going to be, when you set up your support widget here, you just copy and paste in your live chat widget from your high level location. So as you're deploying this out to businesses, to end users, you can deploy your chat widget here, live chat, as a support widget, update that. And what that's going to do is automatically give you this little help button in your locations. So what that's going to allow your users to do is as they go through and they use this in their business, when they click help, they'll have access to message you directly here, or your assistant that you have linked in your live chat to get support live inside the portal, completely white labeled. So you'll see here updates. What updates is going to be is if we release anything new, any functionality, anything changes, we release that completely white labeled to the locations with no branding or anything like that, just going over new functionality. That's just kind of a walk around some of the resources here that you can deploy as an admin. Help, chat widget, updates, anything. And I can also limit, so if I'm doing a tiered deployment, right, like I'm, charging a SaaS client so much money for a specific amount of messages, specific amount of assistant limit, whatever it is, I can dynamically push that here. So I just move this slider and you see now my assistant limit is 7, or maybe I could push that up to, 48. They're a high paying user, that's automatically pushed, or I could just limit them to 1. And what that's going to do is lock their ability to deploy more. So that's what these limits do, is I can set the limits for my locations for anyone using this. I also, as an admin, can look at their assistant logs. I can see everything that's going on in the location just at a top-down view. I can lock the location, and I can also delete locations right here. So locking the location means all it'll do is it'll set an admin lock. So as you can see, they can't get into it. And when they try to access it, they'll get this pop-up for an admin password, right? An admin lock, which is just this password that we set here. And this is for if you have like maybe an SMMA deployment where you don't want these people really to, touch these deployments, where you're kind of doing the service offering yourself. We can just kind of lock them out of it so they don't mess anything up, or however your deployment is. Maybe someone doesn't pay you, you want to lock them out. That's how you do it here in the admin dashboard with the admin lock. So I'll just unlock that. Training data. So what we'll do is we'll just set one up from scratch. Let's create a new training data, and we'll call this example. We'll keep the branding here, right? Assistant closer training data. All right, let's update that. So now we have our training data. This will act as a shared brain, a hive mind for our assistants later on. And this can be very, very specific. And depending on how you want to deploy this can be by business function, right? Support training, sales training. This could be niche, right? This could be roofing training. This could be solar training, or you could just have one training for your business, right? For example, assistant closer, and I can feed that to all of my assistants, no matter the business function, so they all have a shared brain. So it's pretty customizable however you want to do it here. That's completely up to you, and you're given full capabilities to kind of manage your deployment exactly how you want to manage it. So we can upload some files here: PDF, CSV, docs, PowerPoint, websites, text, and then this is the training data that the assistant will actually reference when it goes out to do its job. Now I think I'm gonna just add a website here. I'm gonna scrape, I'll just do agent centric just to kind of have something in here. So we'll go ahead and scrape that. I can add text here as well. So if we just want to add some hard text saying, hey, it's $97 for one location, I can go through, and kind of add my pricing, whatever it is I want to add here. I can save that. That's automatically uploaded. And maybe I could come here and I could let's just do a full scrape on the website, and then let's add a scrape on, I don't know, let's do something fun like perhaps YouTube. Let's just do something fun like, I don't know, let's do YouTube here too. But yeah, you just scrape the sites, and what this will do is, as you can see, if I open this up, this is the information that's been scraped off of the site. This will be fed to the assistant just for contextual awareness of whatever I'm trying to do. The same thing here. This is for YouTube. But whatever I want to scrape to kind of give this assistant contextual data, the same thing with files. I can upload any type of file here. For example, let's do this thumbnail, which is a PNG, and then maybe we'll add in this TXT file, which is some error logging stuff. So now I have a couple files in here, a couple websites, some text. Let's sync up the calendars with high level. And then I think for this example, we'll do a sales one, right? So let's just choose our sales calendar here. And so this is our training data. We'll just update that. And then now we have all these files, websites, text, and calendars synced up. And then we've chosen which one we would like to use. So that's our assistant closer training data. So let's go ahead and create an assistant. So we'll do a new assistant. There's some templates here, and I think we'll probably use a template for this. And for this example, let's just do a sales rep, right? So let's go here. Let's do assistant closer sales rep. Okay, perfect. Let's update that information. And for those asking, we do have assistant snapshots that you can use as an admin, right? So I can grab this. Let's grab this new assistant snapshot. The assistant closer rep, let's take a snapshot of that one. And so now I could push this to the locations that are in my deployment, or I can kind of configure them based on their goals, to kind of spread this out as a snapshot to send to all of my clients for whatever it is, niche-based, business function-based, whatever it is, you'll have a snapshot of that. Okay, so in the assistant here, we'll just go ahead. I have an example of Jim Halpert, BDR. This is all just kind of example stuff that we'd like to do just to kind of show you how to fill everything out. We have some additional settings we can add here. We'll kind of leave these alone. These are optional. Actions, these are all kind of native to the assistant as it sits today. However, we're going to be moving to an a la carte method of allowing you to select what the assistant has access to. Just how you do with a location where you may give access to a client to some things but not others. You'll be doing the same thing with assistants here, like giving them access to calendar management to autonomously book, reschedule, or cancel appointments, but you may not want them to leave notes. You can kind of a la carte or do all of it, whatever you want to do based on your function and deployment here. We're not going to do anything with campaign, but we are going to spend a little time here into the goals. Now, what I'd like to do is, usually I like to elaborate on this, but I think just for the example of getting started, just to kind of show you how easy it is to get started, we'll leave that alone. But just to show you mine, for example, this is kind of the thing we do here. So an example of goals is we're telling it in plain language what we're trying to accomplish, what it means to be accomplished, and then, how they know that this goal is accomplished, right? We're also giving it some sub data for this example, right? For qualification, these are qualifying questions here. And then we're setting a persistence level to be extremely persistent to qualify. If we were to set this to 1, this thing would roll over like a dog. If someone was, they didn't want to answer the questions or whatever, and it would move on to the next thing. But for qualification for us, specifically for this use case, right, I'm going to set it to 10. So let's go back to this assistant that we're doing now. We're not going to change anything, but we'll just kind of keep it as it is just to go out and test it. And then what we'll do is we'll connect that training data, the assistant closer training data here, and let's just update all this information across the board. Great. And so now all we have to do is let's create a new deployment. This is going to be our assistant closer deployment. And what we'll do is we'll assign the assistant right here, and then we'll create a tag, assistant closer example. That's the tag we're going to use. So we're going to add that tag. That tag is going to be added automatically to us to high level, so there's nothing else we need to do. And then let's save the changes here, right? Okay, so now everything's theoretically set up and like actually ready to go. The reason why these things are broken down, just for kind of, kind of a little bit further insight into, why, what, where, and when, right? So training data is going to act as our brain. This is the brain that it's going to reference for situation handling, about your company, really kind of getting granular into these business functions, right? Whether it's sales or support, whatever it is, it allows it to kind of answer the hard questions that a traditional chatbot wouldn't, because it has access to all that information. And you can even do things like uploading CSV of ideal responses or historical responses, or PDF or docs of like sales training, right? Things you have for your company already. All this information, it's readily available for it to access. And the assistant more so acts as the personality and the end goal of what we're trying to do, right? For different business functions where we may have support, we may have sales, we may have upselling via account management, we may have recruiting, whatever it is. This is kind of where we're building out our quote unquote artificial intelligence workforce and what they're supposedly being able to do. And then we're linking them to that training data, right? As a shared brain. And then this is how we get it out to the CRM. So we're assigning it, a tag to let it know, hey, this is when you jump in. We're letting it know what assistant, and then we're just kind of naming these internally so we know where everything's at. So why break it down like that? Other people really don't do it like that. So why did we break it down like that? When you think of building out AI, right? The hardest part is training this thing, training and prompting. One, we have a no prompting system. You just kind of fill out the goals and everything you want it to do, and it just works. So there's no real prompting involved. The other thing is training it, getting up to speed. And if we're able basically to create a hive mind, a hive brain, right? If you're a business owner, the ideal scenario would be for your entire team to be extremely intelligent, all at the same level. That's kind of the philosophy here, right? Is we're able to create this mass brain, this very, very smart repository of knowledge that all of our employees, our assistants, are able to access. So they act like a hive mind. There's no discrepancy in information across our support bot and our sales bot. They all know the same things, and they're all equally as intelligent because they have the same brain. And in the same way, right, we're able to divvy that out by business function or whatever it may be. But that's why we broke it down like that. One, for scalability of information, and two, just for consistency across the intelligence of these assistants that you're deploying. And two, with the deployment, why have the deployment separate from the assistant, right? Well, one, we may have this tag in a very, very well built out client acquisition system. So this is something to the effect of we may have a Rob Bailey DBR that goes into a long-term nurture. That comes from a Facebook ad. We have this whole thing kind of built out, and that's a lot of workflows, that's a lot of information, and we may have this tag sprinkled in and out, right, to activate the assistant. We don't want to go out and redo our entire client acquisition system just because we're changing an assistant, right? So what this allows us to do is just to keep that as a constant and then change the assistant dynamically. So if I already have this in my client acquisition system, but I want to change my sales rep, I would just go here, change it, and then save changes. And then boom, we're done. That's all it takes, right? We don't have to change anything inside of high level. We don't have to do anything inside of high level. We're just making this simple change, which is a very scalable change, right? The other beautiful thing about these assistants is they do not require workflows to work at all. So I'll go ahead and copy this. So there's zero workflows in this location. I mean, just stuff for notification, small groups and things like that, but there's no snapshot, right? You don't have to set up webhooks. You don't have to do this complicated stuff. There's zero workflows involved with this. You may have your client acquisition system where you can plug this into, but as far as workflows, there's no snapshot. This thing works without it. That's what the listener's for. And so all we need to do at this point, right? So let's go to contacts and let's go to my contact. This one, my personal number. So what we'll do is with the tag, right? So we'll put our assistant tag here. which was automatically pushed, as you see, to the location when it was created in the deployment. And all I have to do is send, hey, Jordan, do you have some time to talk? Right? So I'll just send that to kind of initiate this conversation. And I just got the text here. So I'll reply and say, sure, what did you have in mind? And so what that's going to do, you see just with the simple setup we had, right? If we go back to our dashboard in the listener, that's going to pick up this conversation, this manual message that I just sent. And what it's going to do, right? So it picked up the message I sent out in the inbound message. So, hey, Jordan, do you have some time to talk? And then when the information is sent via listener back to this high level, that'll come through. And then we're able to basically talk to it here. So as you see, the message that I sent out to the lead manually was picked up by the system, right? And then the inbound message, the reply from the lead itself, was picked up as well. And now what it's doing, as you can kind of see in the server logs, is it's queuing up these messages. So again, we want to seem as extremely as human as possible while this thing's talking. So this thing is queuing. So if a lead sends us 3 messages, we're not going to send 3 messages back. That's the number one indicator of an AI, right? If I send something 3 messages and I get 3 replies, automatically red flag, that's an AI. However, this system, what it's going to do is it's going to queue inbound replies, and it's going to set a dynamic time there to seem a little bit more human in the way that it responds and the way that it queues messages. So now if a lead sends me 3 messages, my assistant's just going to reply with 1 message, basically answering all of their queries there. So as you can see, literally with minimal setup, we already have this thing kind of set up, and you see it's even pulling from the historical stuff that I sent as an update, right? So I sent an update earlier that was saying, hey, here's some updates to the system. And then I just, kind of picked up the nuance here of, hey, do you have some time to talk? Sure, what do you have in mind? And you see it's just picking up, right? It's just picking up where I left off. It's, I'd like to provide you with the latest updates and improvements to our system. Would you be open to scheduling a call? This just shows you, right? The assistant wasn't even created when this went out. And it's just picking up where I left off. You can just see, you can imagine how powerful this can be in client acquisition systems. Imagine you have a long-term follow-up for months, right? The lead replies, the assistant just picks it up and runs with it. It's the same thing you're seeing here, as it's picking up and running with it. Exactly what I sent out earlier, right? And the thing I just sent out that you just saw, and just running with it. So would you like to be open to scheduling a call? Let's go ahead and reply and say sure. And again, the wait times with these are a little longer because we want this to seem more human. If you have a bot that replies instantly, the lead's going to know it's an AI. And let me give you this example, right? Of where if you call, let's just say AutoZone, you need something with your car, and you pick up the phone to call AutoZone, and the first thing you hear is like an IVR or a bot that picks up the phone, you're automatically going to be like, hey, send me to a customer service rep. You don't want to talk to a bot. That's not why you're calling. You're wanting to talk to someone who can give you accurate information. And the public perception of AI is they do not give accurate information. So what we're doing here is we're queuing and making this thing seem as real as possible with longer response times, right? That's baked in. We don't want it to reply instantly, because if it does reply instantly, that's going to send off the first red flag that they're talking to an AI. So what we're doing is we're queuing the messages, we're giving it a little wait time. You can see this thing working in the background, doing the things it needs to do, right? So it's queuing up the messages. If it needs to do anything like pull available times, it'll pull the available times. If it needs to book an appointment, that's exactly what it's going to do. And you have full transparency into what's actually happening to the system. Like you can see it retrieving runs, collecting information from the CRM, attempting booking, appointment failed, whatever it is, right? And the other thing here is this totally mitigates hallucinations with artificial intelligence, right? Where you had maybe a chatbot in the past that, could conversationally book, and it didn't conversationally book, but it still responded and said, I have you booked. That doesn't happen with the assistants. They're self-aware of everything that's happening, right? They understand the repercussions of their actions, the consequences. So if they go to book and it doesn't actually book, they're fully aware of that. And they go back to the lead and say, sorry, I know I was supposed to book, whatever, but it seems like that time slot was taken. Whatever it is that happens there is when what actually, is perceived as the consequences of its action. For example, you see here, right, I came in and said sure. So what it did is it went and checked my calendar, got the available slots, and then now it's coming back to me and it's saying, I have an opening this Friday at 11 a.m. Does that work for you? And we can go ahead and rate these things because these are good replies. And we'll say, sure, that works perfect. All right. In the same response, it's going to come back and given the available knowledge it has after checking my calendar, and you can literally see it doing it here, right? It's not magic behind the curtains. You can see everything that's going on. So when I sent that message in, what it did is start collecting information, checked my calendar, got the available slots, and then it went back to discuss that with the lead. It's doing the same thing here. I have an opening here Friday at 11 p.m. or 11:15 p.m. or 11:15 a.m. Excuse me. And then coming through, and another thing you can notice, again, this is right out of the box with that assistant that we deployed. This is the one that we literally just set up. And you could see the nuance it took from the conversation before, right? The historical conversation. I'm a very casual person in the way that I talk. So it's taking that nuance of the casual talk here, along with any other, like, I guess you can call it prompting or setup that we give it. And it's using that nuance to come back and, basically replicate me as a sales rep, given the available knowledge that it has. So it's queuing up its reply here, but maybe we can come back and watch it work, and you can see, our assistant closer rep is the one that's kind of doing all this stuff for us. What it's going through is retrieving the run, taking a look at the historical conversation, taking a look at the training data, taking a look at all the information that we gave it in the assistant configuration, taking a look at all the available CRM information. So is all the contact information there? If not, it'll get it. If it is there, it's going to go ahead and book that appointment for me. And then you can kind of see it doing there. So the appointment was booked, it attempted, it did book, and then now it's, confirming everything before it comes back here to reply to me, which is what it's doing now. So great, the appointment was booked. I'm all set for Friday at 11:15. Everything's right, all the dates are information, and then, it kind of signs off politely. But then I can come back and say, cancel that appointment, which just kind of shows, right, the dynamic use cases of these assistants and, why they're so powerful in their uses. Because if you're able to just conversationally book, but maybe not cancel or reschedule, then you really don't have, an artificial intelligence, right? You just have a structured intelligence that can do one or two things. So what I'm going to do is just kind of test it out here and say, hey, cancel that appointment for me. And then we'll see what it does. Okay, so I told it to cancel the appointment. It's going through and it's thinking right now. So what it's thinking about is, going into our actual CRM, our calendar, finding that most recent appointment that was available, that was scheduled, and going through, and it's going to cancel that for me here. So we can kind of watch it working here. So it's going through its actions, going through its cadence. Again, we can kind of see everything that's going on and who's doing it. And then, it's canceled, attempting canceled, it canceled, and then it's going to respond to me and say something like, I apologize for the cancel. But if I go back here and let's go to like the actual high level itself, you can see, right, in high level, whenever it loads, boom, here's what's going on in high level. Is this was the same conversation. The appointment was booked in high level. And then it said, you're all set. After scheduling the appointment, I said, cancel that appointment. It canceled the appointment. And it let me know your appointment's been canceled. Let me know if there's anything else you need. So, that's kind of the gist of this thing. You can see the assistants are very, very powerful, and you can see basically many different use cases for throwing these in here, whether it's sales, support, customer success, whatever it is. You've kind of seen the ease of use. I got a bot. I got my account completely created, connected, and I got a bot working in generally less than 15, 20 minutes while explaining it, right? And then I got it talking, booked an appointment with me, and then canceled that appointment all within the time frame of like 15, 20 minutes. So I hope that's very, very helpful. Look for more content to come. I'm very, very excited about helping local business with this, and I hope you are too, because I think, there's this idea of being able to help a local business owner that, perhaps like a mom and pop shop that doesn't really have the sales acumen, support acumen to, be able to do these things at scale. And then we're basically, as agencies, able to come in here and, automate a lot of their process for them, take a lot off their plate so they can do what they can, what they do best. So I'm very, very excited, to get this out into the marketplace and to genuinely help local business and e-com business and everything like that. So hope you found this helpful. Looking forward to seeing you on the platform, and hope you have a lot of fun and have fun with it. There's a lot of customizations that could be had with the system. So I'm excited to see what everybody builds. Thanks so much.